to DRBMiller Daily Podcast for Sunday, 21st of March 2021. A very warm welcome to all of our friends, fans, community members, participants, squad mates and viewers worldwide on various platforms. Thank you for joining us and thank you for being our valued community members. How's everyone today? A wonderful spring day here in North London suburbs for the second time in 2 days. I've gone out during the day and enjoyed some sunshine and managed to see some daylight, which has been absent from my vicinity, I should say, for probably around 6 months, since mid-October. So very happy. And also I went to my favorite cafe, which is presently serving just takeaways. As in Britain we are still under a full lockdown, and in fact I dreamt last night of lasagna that my chef usually makes, and the dream I had was indeed the catalyst for me to go to the cafe and ask for them to prepare it for me, obviously for me to take it all away from them. There's no seating or the facilities to which we can consume our food in the way as usual, but it was great because I've not seen them for a long while, and they made me a fantastic lunch. It was really great, and I went to our local park and I ate it there. So it was great. And after that went for a lengthy stroll and went to the neighbouring town and enjoyed a bit of fresh air compared to yesterday, because today is a bit, it's not really as sunny, as warm, and there weren't that many people around. And also Saturday is a market day in local area, and then everybody comes and has a look, and therefore I was surprised with the number of people up and about, which is distinctly different to what we usually have presently under the lockdown. But I think lots of people came for the vaccination as well, so it must have been a combination of the two, people coming for the vaccination as well as having a stroll. And all the benches everywhere around the castle, in our local park, around town, all of the benches were occupied. It's just incredible that I couldn't find a single one spare. So there you are. Anyway, how are you all? What games are you playing this weekend? Are you enjoying Bethesda on Xbox Game Pass? Are you perhaps trying some of the games that were introduced recently to PS Now services? Or maybe you just purchased a few and therefore you're hammering them over the weekend. Either way, whatever you are doing at the moment, whatever games you're entertaining presently, just make sure that you let me know. Send us a tweet, send us a message, tell us all about your gaming experiences, and I'll be very delighted to hear from you all and get some more feedback. We did have some messages overnight as well. I think a few of our friends were watching my podcast yesterday, and I'll start my usual kind of structure today with our community first and foremost. And the first question was coming from Tom. He's in London, and he said, Daniel, thank you for your wonderful podcast the other day, dedicated almost exclusively to Bethesda and Microsoft merger. Glad to see that everything is progressing as expected. Delighted to see so many games on Xbox Game Pass. I'm curious to hear from you on what your own personal Bethesda favorites really are. Well, thank you, Tom, for first of all sending us your feedback, also for listening to my podcast and providing us all these wonderful, nice words, and always grateful. So thank you for that. And I'm glad you enjoyed all that I said, and I tried to be as thorough as possible because, quite frankly, Bethesda and BioWare are my favorite developers and publishers, and I've been really playing the games for more than 20 years. And we can just list quite a few of these. They will start. I'm trying to think. The first BioWare game I played, I think it was Neverwinter or Jade Empire. And Jade Empire was on Xbox and Neverwinter was on PC. And then obviously I progressed to Mass Effect, and I played Mass Effect very extensively. And then I also played on Xbox Original the Knights of the Old Republic, which still is one of the very best Star Wars games ever made. Incidentally, I also purchased it recently. Well, it's not that recently, but during the last couple of years. And I have it now with the latest update, which looks really stunning, playable on my Xbox One X, and just really, really terrific resolution and massively improved graphics and everything else. Always great to come back and revisit. Coming back to Bethesda games I was introduced to, I think, through Elder Scrolls series. I think it was Morrowind that I played first, and then I played Oblivion, obviously Skyrim at a later date. But then in between, I also played Fallout 3, which I consider to be one of the best games ever made, and then Fallout 4, and recently Fallout 6, and Las Vegas, of course, New Vegas, I should say. And so there's quite a variety of these games. I know they produced also games like Doom. I've not played them extensively, not been that a huge fan of the original trilogy, and they also had Dishonored and Wolfenstein, the games I've not played much. I mean, I tried Dishonored on PS Now services and Wolfenstein as well, but not really, got my teeth into it. And so if we were looking at my own personal gaming experience with Bethesda, they were dedicated to the biggest and the best, and that's basically the Fallout and Elder Scrolls series. So really a wonderful experience over the years. And if I was to single out like one or two games, I'd probably go for Fallout 3, and I'll go for Oblivion. Obviously, with the other games that we had coming our way, in due course, we had some enhancement on graphics, we had better quality sounds, and various other things which came together with the advancement of technology. But the actual concept that they introduced with Oblivion and also with Fallout 3 was completely novel at the time. It was quite revolutionary, and I remember playing other games that did have open world, like for instance Neverwinter or Diablo, but it didn't have the same degree of the open world exploration with all side quests and different types of activities which you get at all times. And most importantly, it didn't have unlockables, because you will know what they introduced in both games was, depending on what dialogue you were pursuing, you were unlocking content. So you talk to, let's say, an advisor or a scribe or merchant, and you ask him a question which is actually against what game wants you to, and you don't unlock the content. So when you come back, you can always ask the same questions again and you can unlock it. But I really got fascinated by the experience overall, where we were indeed getting the extra content through the type of gameplay we were pursuing, and it was all down to us. It was all down to the way we experienced the world, the way we approached the NPCs, and most importantly, I think with Bethesda, I was reminded of this in the course of this week as I began to stream Fallout 3 here in celebration of that merger. Basically, I was reminded of the fact that when you are playing it for the first time, it's very likely that the three types of questions that are before you will be pursued by your, the way you are really as a character. So if you're really polite, you'll go for the polite option. If you're very kind of pushy, aggressive and abrasive, you'll go for the latter, which is the aggressive option. And then the third one was usually with puns, which was sort of slightly dry, semi-sarcastic type of response. So there are three different types of character that you would get through these types of questions. So therefore the responses and the outcome will be absolutely based on the way you asked. And I was fascinated by this discovery, I've got to say. I found it to be very, very rewarding, and I enjoyed that immensely at the time. And played board games on 360 very extensively over a period of a couple of years, replayed them also on different characters, and had a wonderful, wonderful immersive gaming experience. So I think, yeah, Bethesda excelled, and if you're looking at the series, we compare, I don't know, Dishonored and Wolfenstein and Doom with the other two, you will see that there's a thread, there's a signature of Bethesda in all of them. But the way they deliver it will be certainly for a niche group of gamers, because people who like massive immersive RPGs, they'll go for the Elder Scrolls series. People who like kind of spy, stealthy, maybe FPS, war-like adventures, they'll go for Wolfenstein. People who are into Splinter Cell and tactical gameplay will go for Dishonored. And people who really like to let rip, that will be pursuing Doom. And we have the whole series now on Xbox Game Pass, and most importantly, the older games, the original games, have been reworked and remastered for 4K, and I have to say they look really incredible. And if you were to be playing any of those older games on floppies, you know, your eyes would just go completely mad. You wouldn't be able to do anything afterwards. You'd be just in a haze and really badly affected by the graphics and the colors and flashing lights and everything else. So yeah, to answer the question that Tom raised, Fallout 3 and Oblivion are my personal favorites. I think if we are looking at Fallout, there are lots of people who would say that New Vegas was the best one in the series. I'm still to replay the game. I played it initially and have a very, very good experience and recollection of it, but obviously it did pursue a somewhat different path compared to what we had with the usual part of franchise, and it's always interesting to be coming back and revisiting. So thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom, for that. Really great to see that you are also delighted with the acquisition of Bethesda by Microsoft, and that you are also going to be hammering it on Xbox Game Pass, because quite frankly, like we said many times before, anybody who is serious about gaming will need to have the Game Pass fully unlocked, and one needs to subscribe to it in order to access all the titles. They keep bringing in so many titles, and I got really a bit sort of frazzled this week with all of those that have been introduced just within less than 7 days, and so many different titles and so many different games. It's really very hard to keep tabs on everything, but I'm trying to do that both here through my podcast as well as through the in-depth readings of Xbox Wire, and then the usual presentations that Xbox do have, and that is their weekly podcast together with This Week on Xbox, as well as the regular daily trailers, and also their postings on Twitter. In fact, the whole industry had become so industrious, and there are so many different things happening that particularly with the pandemic, I'd say video gaming industry is thriving. It's just been given a massive adrenaline jab. From 2.5 billion people playing video games every day, we've gone up to 4 billion, and this is just almost a 1% exponential rise, 75% up within 12 months, and the potential for all the new content and for the new communities to be built there is just really sky high. So we're all very excited about it. So thank you, Tom, for that. We have Jessica, who had been saying, I really love your channel. You provide so many different games, and although you are always attached to one big game like Destiny, there will be always something interesting to discover. She said, I particularly liked your indie game presentations, and I really look forward to all that you will be still presenting in the near future. And she was asking what are the most interesting indie games that you are either expecting or playing at the moment. Well, thank you, Jessica, for your wonderful question and for great feedback. Very, very glad to see that you're watching the channel and indeed finding some of the content of interest. Well, first of all, I want to say that I've always been a great supporter of indie developers, and I played quite a lot of these games over the years. But what really made it truly wonderful, certainly during the last fall, is Xbox Game Pass. They had embraced a new policy through which they were not relying anymore on the heavyweights and the well-known developers, but they looked also for quirky indie companies, a bit like penny shares, companies that produced a very good, very short, very exciting, maybe cheap game that attracted a lot of interest, and they brought them in for their second big title. And all of those games are frequently available on Game Pass, either indefinitely or for a little while. And I played quite a few. I played quite a few, and I think if you were to ask me about a game that I'm really excited about, Echo Generation is one of those. And I introduced it earlier this year. I got the demo from Jeff Keighley and his team after the latest Game Awards, and I just think the game looks wonderful. It is a bit retro in style, and has a lot of explorative open world content. Reminds me slightly of Minecraft, to a degree visually. But what I particularly liked was the dialogue, which is funny, the elements of post-apocalypse similar to Fallout, and very lovable kind of characters that include children as well, that are full of different funny ideas and puns and jokes and memes and all sorts. So that's really a wonderful, wonderful indie title to look forward to. Among Us is the game that I look forward to playing. It is available through Xbox Game Pass. I've not played it yet, but it did receive a lot of publicity in view of its major rewards acquired through Jeff Keighley and his event in December, I think it was, wasn't it? And I'm also looking forward to Project Winter, a multiplayer that is also available on Game Pass. Recently it was introduced through Xbox Ambassadors. We've had it as a Game of the Month really there on Xbox Game. No, it was Game of the Week on Xbox Game Club, and it's quite interesting to see how we work together in co-op with other guys or in larger teams in order to ensure that we are surviving this dreadful winter, huge blizzards and all other kinds of threats and hostilities that are popping up in our immediate environment. So really look forward to that as well. So these are the few games that really are on my mind. If you're thinking of anything which is non-indie or anything mainstream, then certainly it's Outriders. The game I talked about here quite a bit, played its demo, and we are very excited to see that the game is coming to Xbox Game Pass. We are going to be cracking on with Outriders on the 1st of April, and the streams will be running here in conjunction with everything else. So we are prepared, and we'll be importing all the data that was completed on PlayStation and Xbox. So that will be definitely very much of interest. I'm trying to think of all the other companies. Well, I listened to a podcast that I believe was delivered about a year ago. Also, it is on Jeff's and Larry's YouTube channel, and they talked. They had one of their senior engineers in there who works on data and the systems that are being incorporated into live services. And he said that video gaming has gone through 4 different stages of development. From the one where at the beginning you would have had the usual kind of consumer's linear transaction. You want to buy a game, you need to go to a shop, you purchase it, you go back home, you load it, you play it from beginning to end, and then that's finished. And the last one, number 4, the tier 4, is where a game like Destiny, The Division, Warzone, Fortnite becomes no longer just a game, becomes a social network. It's a hub where people meet every single day in order to catch up with the news, in order to talk, to connect, to do some online activities together, and generally maintain that degree of social contact. And I certainly had an enormous amount of that since I started out this channel, and I've chosen specifically the games which I believe were attracting the individuals and groups in order to build those communities. So 3 of the biggest ones we had here are Destiny, The Division, Warzone, and Apex 4 games, in fact. And I'd say Warzone and Destiny turn out to be by far the biggest. We have the largest community there that is coming in every day, being fully dedicated, and just like our friend from Microsoft described, no longer is this just a game. It is a social network. We keep connecting with our friends, squad mates, and clan members, and then we keep bringing in new people through random matchmaking or through their contacts, and then exponentially both the membership is growing and we are getting to know many other people worldwide. And we just all have one interest, which is first of all our passion for video gaming, then secondly a particular game like Destiny or Warzone, and then we connect through activity. And I think Warzone is particularly good, as we are getting a lot of activity which is solely based on team effort, and you get to know those people and the character really through the way they deliver the gameplay. So with some of the regulars and usual suspects, we had a very good close bond established in no time. And also what's interesting, the same social network, which was freely established, provided a lot of emotional support to other members of our community who were in the need during the lockdown, and that itself was remarkable. So the support was present both online here on the channel, and then it was provided offline when people sort of connected elsewhere through other platforms like Facebook or Discord, WhatsApp, or any other. And that's a truly rewarding experience, and I'm certainly very excited to see that our friends are connecting so well, and they're finding the activity to be so much of interest. And I think the experience of one game like Destiny or Warzone or Apex, indeed a Division, being a social network is going to be ascending and growing. We'll have those communities being built from scratch, and then we'll have also those communities migrating to other big titles. So it's very likely that a great number of people who are into Destiny 1 and 2 will migrate to Outriders for obvious reasons. The game's very similar. It does have the auspices of Destiny, Distant Worlds, space opera, Guardians, special, the characters with special powers, and etc. etc. But then that community can migrate, and through random matchmaking, you can still carry on with new contacts, and it will be always interesting to see and hear what others have got to say. And we've had one of our friends from Sweden recently confirming that he stopped watching the news. He said, I used to watch Sky News all the time, but I have so many different friends in different countries in Europe at the moment. We meet every day at around 5 o'clock online, as we want to play Warzone in the lobby, and then we chat for anything from 20-30 minutes to several hours, where all the news are being discussed. So he gets to know all that's happening in Germany, in Holland, in Denmark, in Finland, in France, Austria, Luxembourg, Netherlands. It's just fantastic. It's just really incredible that people can then utilize on the news and that degree of connectivity purely through a game, right? But then this game is no longer a game. It's both a game and social network and a hub for further communication. It's like a news hub as well, and the number of different types of variants just simply keeps growing, and I find that really fascinating, and I'm very proud and very happy to have been involved with the creation of several communities of that sort in here. And that really has been for myself truly rewarding, because the way I see it is, it's a bit like when you're setting up different companies. You set up a company, start from nothing, you build it from scratch, and then it grows and it builds, a particular structure is being built, and then after that the company has a few participants, a few employees, and other people come in, and then there comes a point where you feel, well, I don't really need to be there anymore. I can simply pass the buck to others. The company is there, it's fully functional, and they will be growing it, and I'll just move to another one, and then from another one you go to the third one. And that's, I actually had a friend who was doing this for a living. He was setting up companies and then selling them, and he was an extremely successful young man, I have to say, and he had a very good concept and idea, very entrepreneurial at a time when this was a novelty. He was using in the early teens of this century internet and various sort of things which were at that time fairly new, in order to exchange information, in order to bring in new people, etc. etc. So it certainly did stay with me, and was introduced to some of his ideas, and really personally was not that interested in building a company which is expanding and then I'm departing, but the concept stayed with me. The concept which is I guess connected to the idea where you are constantly working on the build-up of a new community. And I've had this already in several other areas of operation concerning film and music. And then the latest venture was obviously here with video gaming. Turned out to be probably the most energetic, the most vibrant, the fastest growing compared to all the other ones. Because with music, you know, the difficulty is you have a big division between scenesters and professionals. And very quickly you will have sometimes people who are on the scene and they want to become a professional and they will try to get in the industry, but it's just people in small numbers. The vast majority come in and then fall out because things change. They're no longer part of the scene. They find themselves being a bit old or not interested anymore in music. And this is a very vibrant, everlasting, ever-changing community, similar to some stuff you see at railway stations. Always constant traffic going in and out. Film community is different because it's clearly defined by what type of preference you will have, whether you like old films, i.e. archive films and film theatre, the film museums, or whether you are kind of interested in TV series and the latest releases, films which are presently coming to cinemas. And it's quite a big division, and you will have sometimes a lot of competition set up between those who are watching the new releases and then having a kind of a war-like atmosphere displayed towards the other lot that are just watching archive films. I think it's probably linked with the experience of age, and you will see sometimes that people who are bear with me a second. You have people who are dedicated to new films and contemporary cinema, and they'll have quite different ideas on as to when and how and in what way certain films could be or should be experienced, compared to the older guys who will be spending a lot of time in archives, producing their thoughts and views on the films that are already seen as bygones and films that can't be easily discovered or seen elsewhere in cinemas. That is, today obviously we can access them through various online hubs, but in the in sort of not so distant past it was very, very difficult. So the guys watching archive films believe they have a lot more knowledge because they've seen all the films, or they're watching a huge number of films which are being displayed there through the cinema repertory. And the guys who are watching the new flicks, they think the other guys are a bit too old. They're not really fully switched on in terms of whatever appears to be contemporary in the present day and age. And then there's this clash of interest, and you get people who like documentary films and people like animated films, those who are into experimental cinema. So you have subgroups, but there's one thing which is clearly defined. That's the membership of those groups. You will find people who are indeed there over a lengthy period of time. They will be simply wanting to stick to that group. They'll discuss the same films, they'll go to same cinemas, and anytime you go there, you'll find the same group of faces attending or in attendance, and always debating and being really very sociable. Everybody knows each other, and the same thing applies to those who are following maybe niche interests of experimental film, animated features, documentaries, and the list just goes on and on. Sometimes people who like particular genres, film noir, pre-code, musicals. And I think with video gaming we have a distinctly different situation, because people who play video games frequently are very diverse, but they will have their own personal preferences. You will see that people who are coming to Destiny will have their personal preference for that type of game, for that style, for massive big open world with lots of activities, lengthy grinds, and etc, etc. And they will still play all the other games, but they'll come to Twitch channels in order to kind of connect with other Destiny veterans, and that's just the way my community is. But if somebody is a Destiny veteran, somebody who is very regularly playing, so sorry, I was a hacker coming in and doing utter nonsense. Just my moderators are informing me that there's this hacker trying to get in, and they're preventing him. But for whatever reason, he was able to post two messages in there, which has to be dealt with by my moderators. And what I was going to say is, yeah, I personally found loads of community veterans here to be very dedicated and really into a variety gaming, but they will be visiting a particular streamer who is running the channel in a way which is based on one game. And we did have a few people popping in saying, how come that you are playing Borderlands together with Halo and then Mass Effect and then Red Dead Redemption and then Apex and Warzone? Nobody else does this. So what? I mean, I don't care. I'll, do what I like doing, and I play just about any game which is close to me or any game that I'm interested in. And I believe that you do not have to be always succumbing to trends. You do not need to be doing exactly what everyone tells you should be doing, because if you are to have a key to huge success, or if you want to be fully rewarded, you definitely want to retain a certain degree of originality. You'll do what you actually believe is right, what is the best, and that is exactly what I've been doing all my life. And with many of my projects on various platforms and obviously dedicated to different fields, I've always tried to be as true to core as possible. Right, so thank you to our friends who were asking questions and sending us some very, very good feedback. We had some messages also in respect of Fallout 3. I had a message from Janice, and she is in NYC, New York City to be precise. She said, I loved your Fallout 3 streams. Very few people streamed the game today, and I still think that Fallout 3 is the very best. Well, thank you, Janice, for that. Certainly that is my view as well. I love the game. I think it's a game that's hugely replayable and always interesting, and also incredibly big, very, very vast, and one can do it in all sorts of ways, particularly if you have the Game of the Year edition with additional content, DLCs, and all the other unlockables. And we are going to be carrying on with Fallout 3 here on the channel. We dedicated quite a bit of time to Fallout 3 in the course of last week, and we'll do the same as days we're on, and we'll be looking at perhaps other Fallout games to be fully included. But I'll spend more time on completing tasks, and I think I want to have some degree of continuity with my Fallout gameplay and experience. And also thank you, Janice, for indicating that you also believe Fallout 3 is the very best. Some people may not agree. People might say the game looks dated, and we much prefer the open world concept that's been, with new content and everything else, DLCs apply to the latest Fallout 76 installment of the series. But I'll leave it to the viewers, I'll leave it to the gamers. They can decide for themselves what they like the best, and whether they will consider the concept to be as good. Because Fallout changed concepts already 4 times, and initially it was a kind of a game resembling an RTS, real-time strategy, turn-based game, and that was concerning Fallout 1 and 2, released on PC. Then we had the open world introduction, the big one, with Fallout 3, which sort of extended to Fallout 4. I think the Vegas installment did bring us a different idea, which in fact was quite similar to other Obsidian games, with much greater elements of linear narrative and how to put it. It was sort of combined. It was bringing in a lot more of the RPG, right? And so it wasn't just based on collecting gear and shooting and doing bits and pieces here in non-linear fashion. It just felt like a fully integrated story, and I think therefore it stands out with its quality, graphics, and everything else. And then the fourth one was indeed the concept similar to what we have with Destiny in Fallout 76. So altogether, definitely a very, very interesting concept. I look forward to seeing all else that will come from Bethesda and future installments. Certainly, I want to thank Janice for supporting our stream and for writing to us and telling us all about her own views on Fallout. We had a message from Joe. Joe's in Washington DC, and he said, "You talked about gears quite a lot. When is, when are we going to have it?" And thank you, Joe, for your message and indeed for your passion. That is I guess, linked to Gears of War franchise, the series. Thank you for that. And we did have Gears here, and I did stream it a little while back. This was during its first couple of months of release, and I will be having Gears back here in a little while, because quite frankly there are games that we want to get through, mainly on the Bethesda stroke Microsoft roster. We have our regular PvP Battle Royale games like Apex, PUBG and Warzone. We have Mass Effect to get through before its legendary release in May. So, quite a few games out there, and DRBMiller introducing lots of interesting new titles coming in, and freebies on weekends, all of that. So Gears will come to the channel, but not immediately, and I'm personally very excited about Gears Tactics, the game I still need to try and play, and it's been around for a little while, and very interested to see how the idea of that combined turn-based strategy with cinematics and story-driven content would actually work. It had very, very good reviews, but it is a game that I really wanted to be playing very consistently, and therefore I did not want to have a very flimsy look at all that is in it. Therefore I've not even tried it. I have a kind of a policy where I just look at new games that they introduce to our streaming services. So I very quickly have a look at some gameplay and the initial sections and what the graphics are like, whether the gameplay is smooth, and etc, etc. And then I have a list. I have like a to-do list, or a book, games to play book I should say, and then I list some of the games in there, and the list just keeps growing. The games to play, my goodness, so many. And obviously very easy now to access some of them with those streaming services. When you combine Xbox Game Pass with PS9, it's just 1,400 games instantly accessible. And like for instance, I've gone back to Uncharted, and the Uncharted is a wonderful, wonderful Naughty Dog game. The first installment, probably one of the very best, and I've gone through it. I've played quite a bit of it. Doesn't perform too well on PS9, I've got to say. It's a bit choppy and very bright graphics, and it does feel like no proper update would have been applied for its PS4 usage. So I kind of left it for the time being, and I'll carry on with it. But I have several other games that I'm kind of looking at the same time, and the Uncharted is one of them. The Last of Us, the original remastered, is the other. I've finished the game now. And then The Witcher 2 as well. I revisited of late, and I played it on every night basis, as well as special edition of Skyrim. So the list just grows. The notebook just gets quickly filled in with all the interesting titles, and we have to be really very, very disciplined in terms of what we do and how we do it. I think the difficulties arise if there are areas of those games where difficult puzzles or sections that are hard to crack, you can't find a particular item. Well, considering my time constraints, I, unlike in the past, where I would be just grinding indefinitely to get to a particular key or unlockable or whatever, today I'll resort to some tips from my community and also from the internet, because otherwise the time will just fly by and all the other games will still wait to be looked at or played. Right, so I think we covered all that our friends asked us since yesterday. Once again, I want to thank Jessica and Joe and all the other guys who were writing to us and expressing their interest, and thank you for, first of all, watching my podcast, listening to it on separate platforms, also through our playback, which is really great. I think the vast majority of people are watching it through playback rather than live, and I'm very, very excited to see that you did find some of my musings and ramblings of interest, and I want to invite everyone to come in sometime, maybe with some live online participation. You can type firstly messages on chat, and then later we can set up a time where you can come forward and discuss some of your gaming experiences and passions here together with us and my community, and always will be a very, very good, great experience. I need to get a hot drink and have a very short break, and I'll be back in a couple of minutes, and then we'll be looking at all the news that would have come to us on the wire. We'll look at all that's come in, and we'll talk about the most exciting games that are coming our way in the days to come. So stay with us, I'll be back very shortly. Alright my friends, I'm back and we are going to be looking at all the news that came to us on the wire. You will recall that yesterday we were looking at all that came our way through Square Enix presentation, and probably one of the best presentations coming from any developers ever I've seen. We were pretty well used to seeing great things coming from Ubisoft. They really mastered the art of their online broadcasts when it came to new games, and the team, and also with Xbox team, which is really the very best. And Square Enix excelled. I think they put really Sony to shame, and we had a wonderful selection of games that all of us are very, very excited about, and we talked about it yesterday. So today we'll just look at all the other news that were coming our way on the wires since Friday. So first of all, we heard that Sea of Thieves is celebrating its 3rd anniversary, and I picked up some really wonderful perks there through Xbox Game Pass, and I need to play this game more. We streamed it a little while back, and I really need to find some community members who want to come in, because this is similar to Destiny. You really learn as you go along. The game changed completely compared to the way it was initially, and Jeff and Larry keep talking about it quite a lot, so I really want to also join their community to find out more about Sea of Thieves. A very family-friendly game, lots of funny characters, and great dialogue, and plenty of travel, and battles with skeletons, and you explore with the rest of the pirates all those distant isles in high seas, and loads of interesting content. So definitely a game that will come here to the channel sooner or later. Yet again, will return to the channel, I should say. So we also seen that this weekend marked 3 years since Sea of Thieves made its first voyage on Xbox One and Windows 10, and it's been a fantastic journey. And since the launch back in March of 2018, already it's so long, over 20 million pirates have begun to chart their own tales of high seas adventure. And let me see. And we couldn't be more grateful from everyone at Rare. The guys would like to say a big thank you to everyone who joined us and the community on the Sea of Thieves journey so far. 2021 looking to be our biggest year yet, so stay tuned for more. They said where we have lots of festivities, and they, to thank everyone for their support on the occasion of the 3rd anniversary. They've got a chest full of goodies and bonuses, so really nice time to have a look at Sea of Thieves. And I've got to say, I have a bit of a problem with seasonal content and with all the anniversaries. I think yesterday listed about 10, and all of them are happening at the same time. They include, first of all, Apex, that was celebrating its 2nd year, then PUBG, its 4th year, then we have, what is this, the 3rd year of Sea of Thieves, Blessed Unleashed, 1st year anniversary, and every one of those anniversaries is bringing you some extra loot, so you need to be grinding, and there's only that much time. I've looked up the wonderful RPG that Blessed Unleashed is. Yet again, we streamed it here on its release, and it's been massively enhanced. It looks beautiful, and I really look forward to some of the streams next week of Blessed Unleashed. I want to grind and get some of the items, and wonderful characters, and funny dialogue, and plenty of action. Anyway, coming back to Sea of Thieves, we have here the rewards. So if you log in between March the 18th and March the 25th, so that's this week, you'll receive this year's anniversary gift, which is the Prosperous Captain Sails. If you're an Xbox Game Pass member, you can also receive the Jump for Joy emote by logging in between March the 18th and March 21st. So that's, you need to log in today to get that perk. And also as part of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate perks, we can claim the Sea of Thieves Ocean Crawler bundle for free, and that's between March the 18th and June the 18th, so still carrying on for at least 3 months. And still need to pick up some game itself, offered on the price 50% off, so it's a huge discount. You can get it through Microsoft Store. And also they'll be running a special Gold and Glory weekend from March the 19th to March the 22nd. So it's this weekend. We can not only earn double the gold and trading company reputation, but extra seasonal renown as well. So it's loads of things you can really earn if you get in. And I have to say, they're really excelling. There's so many different things out there for people to enjoy. And grab the final set of Season 1 Twitch drops by tuning in to any of our Sea of Thieves partners between March 19th and March 23rd. You can pick up the remaining Gilded Phoenix equipment, as well as all new Hornpipe Dance emote to dance a merry jig. So, if you want to dive into the backstories of some of Sea of Thieves main characters, the first free issue of our latest Sea of Thieves Origins comic miniseries is available on Comixology now. So I'm surprised that they're not really making it easily unlockable on the game itself, because that's the concept that Respawn introduced recently with Apex, and it just works perfectly. You keep unlocking the comic strip series, and then eventually you can have the whole collection, read it all, and within the game itself. So I think that's really cool. The issue that I talk about here is giving you the exploits of Sir Arthur Pendragon as he forges his name at the Champion of Souls. So the final update to Season 1 also will go live today. It's a couple of days ago now, teeing up a brand new Vault Raiders event starting on March 25th, introducing new wonders to the Pirate Emporium, including a free Roful emote and this weekend's Grand Anniversary Emporium sale. So they thank everybody who's been participating and everyone who's been a dedicated community member. I think Sea of Thieves is very similar to Warzone and Apex and Destiny and The Division, all the other games I mentioned. It's just that I did not really choose Sea of Thieves to be the most important or the main game here, the backbone of this channel. I've chosen Destiny, otherwise we could have had the same sort of community out there as well. So let us see, what else do we have there? Oh, I've lost my thread now, I apologize. We have Dungeon Defenders Awakened, available on Series X and S, Xbox One. And we talked about it yesterday somewhat. The free play days are still carrying on until Thursday this week. We had Dirt 5 offered on Xbox free play this weekend until end of Sunday, which is today. Still have about 6 hours left if you want to try the game. Dirt 5, a wonderful car racing, extreme sports type of adventure. And then the other that will be accessible for free to everyone for the whole week is Rainbow Siege 6, and actually Rainbow Six Siege, and you can try any operators and do any of the activities completely free. And if you are doing so, make sure you download Ubisoft Connect app, because through the app you're also getting a lots of extra loot and rewards as you're progressing with your gameplay. So a very good system, in fact, that Ubisoft introduced. I really like it. I've been using it already now for several years, and all the games that Ubisoft released will be then registered through your app, and you have your small kind of intel group where you're getting all the information about daily activities, which is particularly useful for the games like Ghost Recon and The Division, as have lots of daily new content, and definitely recommend it to everyone. So anyway, cut and story short, Rainbow Six Siege is available this week, free of charge. Anyone who is a subscriber to the Ultimate will have it in any case, but for everyone else, now is the best time to try. So we've seen Crimson Heist brings explosive drones to Rainbow Six Siege, and so they belong to Flores, I believe, and he is the new attacking operator. So let me just see what they said. But they're going behind enemy lines or creating a massive rotation hole. The new remote control explosive drones coming to Rainbow Six Siege are here to make an impact. They belong to Flores, the new attacking operator arriving with the launch of Crimson Heist. The new season also brings an explosive new secondary weapon called the Gone 6, a rework of the border map, and a battle pass with a bevy of new rewards. And you can also play Rainbow Six Siege for free on Xbox Series X, S and 1 starting March 18th through March 24th. A 3-week season launch and even more explosions. It's good, folks, it's real good. So Flores hails from Argentina, and he comes to Team Rainbow packing his RCE Ratero gadget. So the explosive little beauties can clear out a host of defenders' obstacles, including barricades, deployable shields, barbed wire, and any bulletproof defender gadgets like Maestro's Evil Eyes. So this makes Flores a powerful asset for any attacking team looking to clear the way for their push onto the objective. He can also do serious damage to anyone caught in the blast radius, though the explosive timer is long enough for nimble players to get clear. So that sounds really good, and if you're interested you can just pop in and have a look. Flores is going to be there. Age of Empires fan preview broadcast coming April the 10th. And we can expect to see the first gameplay and civilizations from Age of Empires 4. And this is latest PC game developed by Relic Entertainment and World's Edge for Xbox Game Studios. You can check out the definitive edition of the franchise's decades-long history on Xbox Game Pass for PC. So we're all very excited to hear that there will be a celebration of the franchise with a new event, Age of Empires Fan Preview. So that event will consist of a half-hour broadcast kicking off at 9 o'clock AM Pacific on April the 10th, so it's a few weeks away, and it will be hosted on ageofempires.com, Twitch, Facebook Live, and the Xbox YouTube channel. Also in Bilibili for the fans in China. So for 1 week following the broadcast, we are opening up a limited time digital experience on Age of Empires to continue celebrating with our community. This is whilst we do not want to spoil everything we have in store, we know that you've been patiently waiting for more glimpses of Age of Empires 4 since the first trailer at XO19. So this broadcast will include a new look at gameplay, civilizations, campaign and more. We'll also be sharing some exciting news for Age of Empires 2, Definitive Edition and Age of Empires 3. Since the first Age of Empires game launched more than 20 years ago, the franchise has brought together players all over the world with love of real game strategy. Over the last 3 years, we've delighted seasoned players and new fans alike with definitive editions of Age of Empires 1, 2 and 3. Those titles were made possible thanks to community feedback, and everyone there is so proud to have had such passionate, dedicated players. And with the definitive editions in the hands of everyone, there is a new era on the horizon. Our community is what has kept this amazing franchise alive and evolving for more than 2 decades, and now it's time to celebrate with an event built exactly for you. So that sounds good. I'm looking forward to that. And let us see what other news we have. Loads of news came in on the wire. So slaughter aliens and fix a broken world in a Space Robinson. Your unmanned space shuttle crash lands outside of Colony 21, where you are supposed to be making some desperately needed repairs. Unfortunately, the planet has a bit of an alien problem and the locals are not too friendly, so you're going to have to adjust some attitudes as well as repair machinery, fighting through 5 different biomes, each with 3 stages. Dash and bash, run and gun, beware the night, find, fight and fix, power up and press onward, and Space Robinson is a classic roguelike shoot 'em up available on Xbox Store and Xbox One. So sounds good. Watched trailer, looked very good. The classical old arcade style platformer. And if you're into that sort of thing, then you'll find it very, very exciting. What else do we have there? Scarlet Nexus. Futuristic tech and psychic abilities stylishly unite on June the 25th. I've got to tell you, I'm quite excited about Scarlet Nexus. I watched some developer diaries, and I watched also some things which were introduced through the trailers for a while, and looks like a really interesting, very immersive Japanese-style RPG. So it's action RPG from Bandai Namco, and it's led by 2 members of the Tales of Vesperia team, Kenji Anabuki and Keita Izuka. So the world of Scarlet Nexus is set in an alternate and perilous future. Humanity is under constant threat from others, dangerous mutants that rain from the sky to hunt humans. So to protect the world, humans with extrasensory abilities called psionics are recruited into the Other Suppression Force. With their powerful and unique psychic powers, the OSF bands together to exterminate the others. So the combat system in Scarlet Nexus allows you to take full advantage of your party's psionic powers. The playable protagonists, Yuito and Kasane, specialize in psychokinesis, which enables them to manipulate objects with their mind. Utilizing psychokinesis, the environment becomes your weapon against the others. By chaining melee combos with psychokinesis attacks, Yuito and Kasane are two of the most adept members of OSF. So the list goes on and on. In Scarlet Nexus you have robust options to match your preferred playstyle. By equipping your various plugins to your party members, you can improve the stats, enhancing the physical attacks and psychic abilities, or even specifically upgrade your psychic powers to make your favorite combo even more rewarding in the field. So I'm very excited, and so we all need to wait until June 25th in order to see what Scarlet Nexus is going to tell us. And then we have Atlas, Journey from the Maelstrom, and you probably are familiar with the game. And the game's been run for a little while, and we've heard that the developer, lead designer from Grapeshot Games, sent us a rundown of reflections on the game and the journey, and he said it's been a wild ride since we set sail last summer to renew the Atlas journey. We're going to take a look at how the game preview journey has been so far and see what's on the horizon. At our journey onset, we introduced the Maelstrom map, giving the world a more identifiable shape with clear areas of conflict and safety. Up next was the trade system that automates the gathering of simple resources and allows the creation of a trading network to advance a company's influence in new ways. This was made possible with several new types of gathering buildings: farm, quarry, mine, lumberyard, a warehouse which automatically collects from the farms, etc., etc. And sea forts and capturable micro islands that are integral to the trade system. Companies can take over sea forts when tax trade shipments that go through its region or blockade other companies from using that trade route. The next step for this system is to add NPC ships to execute the company trades, allowing players to pirate these shipments. This week, Atlas sees the area claiming system coming to the public server. So place a land claim tower on a lawless region to assert ownership over that area and prevent others from building out there until they knock your tower down. So the list just goes on and on with all these novelties that they're introducing. Atlas is available there on Xbox, so you can obviously download it and play it with ease, and certainly very much of interest to everyone who is into the exploration of wild travel, high seas, all the other things. And we have Samurai Showdown is now optimized for Xbox Series X. Very interested to see what they have to say. And they said from its creation in 1993, the Samurai Showdown series has redefined weapon-based fighting games. 11 years after its previous installment, the series welcomes in a completely new game, always evolving. The series known for its breathtaking battles, stunning characters, and it's been taken to new heights with amazing visuals and sound design. Joining the roster of 13 fan-favorite warriors comes the 3 original characters new to the story. Also, Samurai Showdown 3 protagonist Shizumaru Hisami joins the fight alongside Gonsung Lee from popular mobile game Honor of Kings. So this latest installment takes place 1 year before the events of the original Samurai Showdown game, where tensions are still hot in the land of the rising sun. So it's brimming with classic Sam Show concepts like the Rage Gauge, Lightning Blade, and devastating super special moves to destroy our opponents, with Feel Your Heart Race being moments from death only to turn the tables in one big swoop. So everyone on XNS can enjoy Samurai Showdown at smooth 120 FPS, creating a fighting game experience like no other. Samurai Showdown also supports smart delivery, allowing owners of the Xbox One version to upgrade to the Xbox Series X and S version for free. And they'll also be releasing some DLCs, continuing off from the DLC Season Passes 1 and 2. Season Pass 3 is slated to launch on March the 16th. So that's very interesting. This is a great game, and definitely a game I want to have a look at. And curious about the Elder Scrolls Online Flames of Ambition has arrived, and we heard that this is the latest DLC, and Update 29, both now live on Xbox One, and your Gates of Oblivion year-long adventure begins. You get access to it with an active Elder Scrolls Online Plus membership, or by acquiring it with crowns from the Microsoft Store. I think the DLC is not accessible through Game Pass, so if you are playing the game on the Game Pass, you will still need to purchase some of the DLCs. This new dungeon DLC challenges players with the Cauldron and Black Drake Villa 4-player adventures, featuring dangerous new bosses, rewarding puzzles, and stories that lead into the Blackwood chapter. So you have Black Drake Villa, and that means that you need to join forces with the Wood Elf Eveli Sharp Arrow to search the hidden archives of the Black Drake Villa in order to acquire a mysterious stone. Be warned, the once Bride Mansion is now home to a tribe of monsters, and the villa's archives below are engulfed in flames thanks to the arson of the True Sworn mercenaries. So that's one part of it. The Cauldron. The local townsfolk of the Shan have been enslaved and are now forced to excavate hidden ruins deep within a long-forgotten mine. You must, with the help of Dremora Lyranth, you must enter the Cauldron, battle the Daedric beasts and cultists within, and end the sinister plans before they can be completed. Each dungeon holds its own unique rewards, dangers to conquer and puzzle to solve. Each can be completed in both normal and veteran difficulties. If you're looking for a true challenge, however, you can choose to face all three of the Black Drake's Villa bosses on Vet Hard mode difficulty, and that's not for the faint-hearted. So they have really new champion system as well. In addition to DLC, this release also includes the update 29 base game patch for everyone, completely free of charge. This patch includes a host of fixes and improvements, including the updated champion system. With its major redesign, you will be presented with more choice and variability in how you wish to spend your champion points once you've reached level 50. With only 3 core constellation groups and the ability to select and slot powerful passive boons, this updated system will allow you to build your character the way you want to play. So everyone's extremely excited to see how the community uses this updated system, and also what kinds of builds they will be creating. And then we have the Gates of Oblivion. Well, I have to say that really I love Elder Scrolls series, and I thought the way they recreated the world in the online game has been really remarkable. Couldn't get into it in the same way as I did with Oblivion and Skyrim, got to admit, and I played it several times, and we had it also streamed here on the channel a little while back, right at the beginning when the channel was starting out, and we are going to get back to it. We know, in view of Bethesda and Microsoft merger, we are going to be definitely having a lot more of Elder Scrolls here, because I think Elder Scrolls, similar to some of the other family-friendly games, will give us a true sense of global community of participants, and specifically when you are doing some tasks in the wild, you will be getting people strolling about and seeing you and asking you to join their activities, and that's the best possible way through which you build your community. So with the Flames of Oblivion Update 29, your next big year-long adventure begins. What you discover in the flame-wreathed Black Drake Villa or the Daedric-infested Cauldron will set up the story to come in both the upcoming Blackwood chapter, which is going to be releasing on June the 8th, or the Daedric Plains of Destruction will have plans for Tamriel, and it's up to you and your allies to stand against Mehrunes Dagon and his terrible schemes. Good luck to you all. Well, it's interesting in here. It says they cost $20, but I have it for free on my Xbox Game Pass subscription, of course. What else? We have Neverwinter. I can't believe that there are so many news. I mean, I could spend literally the whole day just going through all the news. It's extraordinary. Neverwinter, a new war for Sharanda, already had started. Curious to see what that is about. All threats now vanquished leave room for rebuilding, for new growth, and for new foes. So the Feywild calls upon adventures, once again in Neverwinter's new module, Sharandar. Divided into 3 episodes, the newest content release brings a new storyline, adventure zone, dungeon, and a lot more. So anyone who's familiar with Neverwinter, the game was released on PC. We had 2 wonderful installments, and then it just went online. And I played Neverwinter online very extensively, just loved the game. It's very similar to Elder Scrolls, but with a multitude of NPCs and lovable characters and tricky situations for all of us to resolve. So if you've not tried it, it's free of charge. Download it and just absolutely enjoy the wonderful open world that you'll find there. Having defeated Malabog, the Illyambrian elves looked forward to a peaceful calm. Yet an air of unease brings twisted visions and walking nightmares, compounded by the severing of the Fey Crossing. The bridge connecting the Feywild and Faerun now blocks the passage between the planes as Elven patrols report a threat watching in the shadows. So in episode 1, The Iron Tooth, you will be asked to assist Mary Sarah Winterwhite and the rest of the Illyambrian elves in uncovering the source of this new threat. Then Feywild foes, you have the Feywild is home to many creatures of different natures, some friends, many foes. No threat typically comes alone, and this one is no different, as players face known enemies such as Fomorians, Redcaps, Grunge, Dryads, and more. Among some of the new creatures tricked into service by the Greater Foe are the Onai, Froggenmoth, and Displaced Beast. The Onai, sometimes called magical ogres, due to innate magical ability, covered magic. Knowing whom they often serve in exchange for magical items will help in uncovering the source of the new threat upon Sharandar. The Froggenmoth, revered as gods by the amphibious-looking Bullywug, will force adventurers to contend with their large tentacles, prehensile tongue, and 3 eyes. Oh, that sounds absolutely ghastly. Also with extra appendages is the Displacer Beast, a 6-footed cat-like creature with 2 tentacles sprouting from its shoulders. The dangers of Sharandar are not to be trifled with, but rewards often serve as an incentive to even the most hesitant of heroes. So, rewards. The new 3-part campaign brings with it new rewards, from rings to other shiny tokens such as shattered diamonds. These diamond fragments can be combined to create new gear transmutes, artifact sets, and a lot more. For those wishing for quicker gear to better face the threats of Sharandar, you will also be able to trade in seals for new gear. The greater the danger, the greater the reward. The new Vault of Stars dungeon will allow adventures, the means to obtain the Forest Guardian set, as well as the sparkling Fey Emblem artifact. Whether you desire and transmute item such as the Butterfly Crown of the Forest, the Fairly Court Fashion set, or the Refulgent Diamond Pin artifact, Sharandar will reward you with your skills and heroics. Starry Vault, an item called the Night Diamond, is said to be the key to stopping the menace that threatens Sharandar. As with any uniquely powerful item, acquiring it will require well-seasoned adventures. The new level 80 dungeon, the Vault of Stars, invites you to enter the Gloaming Court and fight your way through the vault. The Unseelie will stop at nothing to prevent unwelcome visitors who seek to threaten the inner sanctum of the Queen. Those guarding the way to the vault include the Royal Gardener, whose experiments have resulted in beautiful and horrifying creations. To get past the Gardener, you will proceed through the Forest of Blooms and its concentration of corpse flowers to make your way to the Prince of Frost. The finally disorienting challenge to traverse the Maze of Shadows will lead to the final boss, the Queen of Air and Darkness. The newly reimagined Sharandar offers a visual feast with its breathtaking environment, especially to adventurers seasoned in the hellish landscapes of Avernus. But just like its infernal predecessor, this module will also bring challenges and adventures. Will you defend the Feywild once again? Dungeons and Dragons, that's exactly what it is. And I love the game. I played Neverwinter quite a lot, and very, very excited about all that is to follow. I think 2 more bits of news here. We have news on Microsoft's Flight Simulator. As you know, this is a wonderful simulator where you can be flying your own jets and exploring any corner of the planet. You can be flying it above your own home, looking at everything in your environment, in your local neighborhood, and just soaking up all this wonderful sceneries from high above. So we heard that Microsoft Flight Simulator is getting first highly complex third-party airliner from Aerosoft, and they said the Microsoft Flight Simulator is the latest entry in Microsoft's longest-running franchise with a history of roughly 38 years. It is not only a popular simulator, it is also a development platform. So today they are proud to announce that the team at Aerosoft, in close collaboration with the development team at Asobo Studio, is releasing the first highly complex add-on aircraft for the simulator, and that's called the Aerosoft CRJ 55700. So Aerosoft GmbH is based in Paderborn, Germany, and is one of the most influential companies in the flight simulation space. Founded in 1991, the company focuses on the development and publishing of software and hardware for flight enthusiasts. The first release was an add-on to Microsoft Flight Simulator 4 in 1992, and since then the company has developed and published hundreds of add-ons for the Microsoft Flight Simulator franchise. Due to this long history and deep understanding of flight simulation, Microsoft selected Aerosoft to release the physical edition of the new Microsoft Flight Simulator in Europe. The new Canada Air regional jets released today have a capacity of 50 to 100 passengers and feature a 3-cabin layout. So these planes are used by many airlines around the world and are known for their efficiency, low operating cost and safety. In flight simulators, these jets are also very popular with hobbyist airplane pilots, as these planes are often used on routes that are less than 3 hours in duration and are perfect for a flight session. This unique add-on was created in close and fruitful collaboration with Microsoft and Asobo Studio, and we've ensured that all available features of Microsoft Flight Simulator have been implemented. The CRJ is simulated in its complete complexity right up to the smallest of details. Even the cockpit include nearly all systems, operating just like the real aircraft, including the complex flight management system, the electronic flight bag and the head-up guidance system, in a never-before-seen visual and technical quality that will thrill ambitious pilots. So that's absolutely terrific. And you know what? I still have not downloaded Microsoft Flight Simulator to my console. I've not tried it, and I watched developer diaries and videos and trailers and everything, and I really need to do that. I really want to explore it. And you know, the beauty of Xbox Game Pass is certainly in the area where you are getting a huge diversity of games on offer, and if you're not particularly keen on sports games like myself, or any other in fact, you can always just simply download it not to try, and there's nothing better than being a bit sort of resistant to a game and then after downloading it discovering that this game is incredible and you want to play it again and again. I'm trying to think, Starlink was one of those games recently that I discovered, and thanks to Xbox free play days I was able to engage with it for the whole weekend, and this integration was a wonderful game. They offered it for free, I think, within a week. It was a period after its release, and you know, you find some of the games which will grab you and you will carry on with the gameplay then for some time, and it's just a question of time. I think the last bit here that I have is on Fortnite, and that's the wild rules in Fortnite Chapter 2. So it's Chapter 2 Season 6, and Fortnite fans, we have some really good news with your help. Agent Jones has successfully contained the 0 point. Now, other news: the containment of the 0 point has caused reality as we know it to break down, destroying much of the technology on the island. So what does this mean for you? Well, long story short, the central desert that we all used as a hunting ground has been completely transformed into a sprawling primal landscape. So you may feel the primal force that drives us all, calling you to adapt to the island's changes. And don't worry, it's a good thing. Now we're here to guide you on how to become a certified survivor in Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 6. I'm curious, I mean, I've not really played Fortnite much, generally, and particularly not of late. and I think that we are not doing justice really to the Battle Royale subgenre by not presenting it here, so maybe at some point we'll, bring it in. And I really want to see all of those wonderful characters, like for instance the alien character, and then Master Chief and Terminator and all the other chaps I've brought in from various other films and video games. And I really probably want the very best games for social encounter through all the characters and gameplay and everything else that you do there. We need to really practice a bit, because I was a bit baffled by its in-game mechanics. We need to be building certain obstacles, and items need to be created from nothing, and I've seen people just being very industrious and building all kinds of structures in order to defend, to protect, and maybe I have to play it a bit offline in order to get some skills and get some knowledge, and then we'll do it here. But on the other hand, I'm not really bothered, as this is a learners community-based channel. We can obviously start with everything from scratch. Anyway, carnivories and crafting. The island is now crawling with wildlife that tends to be more feisty than friendly, and you can use this to your advantage, as successfully taking down these beasts will provide you with their resources. What to do with these new resources? Craft. And this season you can craft a new weapon type, primal weapons. So you can craft familiar weapons like pump shotgun and assault rifle. To craft these, you will need to harvest resources from remaining machinery such as cars. Primal weapons and familiar favorites are also available in the loot pool, but you can craft them on demand as long as you have a makeshift weapon and the proper resources. While on the topic of new weapons and crafting, we have to ask, how good is your archery? Now that we are in a new primal era, bows are all over the island, and like the weapons previously discussed, there are different versions you can craft. To start, use animal bones to change a makeshift bow into a primal bow, mechanical parts to change it into a mechanical bow. From there, there's still lots of different possibilities. Try to find what flammable substance or organism you can combine with a primal bow to make the flame bow. Also, you probably will not be shocked to find that you need to turn a mechanical bow into a shockwave bow. That's all really complicated. I guess all the Fortnite veterans, when listening to this, will know exactly what you're talking about. For me, it's just a bit difficult to comprehend. With this knowledge, we challenge you to discover all of the types of bows you can create with the power of crafting. So forge your way to the victory. Brave the new primal world, and the introduction of the primal biome has brought forth many new locations to explore. Ascend the towering spire that stands at the center of the island. Unlock the mysteries of the guardian towers that sit at the outskirts of the biome, and try your luck at the formidable Bony Burbs. Gaze at the autumnal orange sights untouched by modern life. And then we have, for instance, our new Battle Pass, Chapter 2, Season 6. And it features characters that have proven to be more than ready to take on the wild. So here's the list. Agent Jones, willing to get rough to save reality. Lara Croft, the latest member of the Gaming Legends series. Tarana, Embracer of the Wild. Raz, Seeker of the Spice Mistress. Cluck, Born of the Wild. Rebirth Raven, founding member of the Teen Titans. Spire Assassin, one with a spire. Neymar Jr. coming soon to the island. Well, are we going to have Ronaldo and Messi popping in? Probably, most likely. So that's really cool, and the Fortnite Chapter 2 Season 6 is now available for you to play, along with many new challenges. And remember to keep your eyes peeled for technology advancements throughout the season, like for instance off-roading chunkless tires. So that's looking good. Obviously Fortnite is still rocking, beaming with energy and activity. Very excited to see that all is as good as ever. And we have also just the very last bit of news. It's coming from Paradox. You will recall that last week we were streaming Stellaris in here. Stellaris was created by Paradox, a space simulation RPG turn-based strategy game, and very good, very immersive. You can create your own universe and build your colonies and talk to your presidents and literally organize everything as you please. And they are having a next slate of content for Xbox gamers, and that is to be presented at Paradox Insider 2021. So they said strategy and management game fans on Xbox have a lot to be excited about in the coming months. We shared an inside look of what Paradox is cooking for Xbox players during our Paradox Insider show of the weekend, and we bet there is at least one surprise you didn't see coming. So anybody interested, you need to really head to Xbox Wire. I get all my news from them at present, and there are trailers and there are videos in there indicating all that they've done basically, and you'll be able to get the full broadcast in there on replay. So Crusader Kings 3 is one of the last year's best reviewed games and is back with its first piece of downloadable content. So that's called Crusader Kings 3 Northern Lords. It's a flavor pack that adds more depth to its Norse nations, and then adventurer characters can go forth and find new Norse kingdoms in foreign lands. There are many new events connected to Norse lore, Viking berserkers and shield maidens, the fierce winter and Norse religion. Surviving Mars. Our interplanetary survivor colony builder has returned with new content slated for 2021. Now developed by Abstraction Games, there is a new expansion in the works that will arrive later this year. But more importantly, we have an in-dome building content creator pack and a free tourism update launching for Xbox players right now. So we have then the free tourism update, giving players several fun reasons to return to the Red Planet in 2021. RC Safari, hotels, Logi Amusement Park, additions. These offers mean that often improving your tourist holiday experience rating, so you can use them all for that. You want to stay on the good side since their satisfaction with the trips will be directly reflected in your rewards, funds and number of tourist applications. And also developed by long-time community modder Silva, the in-dome buildings pack introduces 8 structures you can add to your colony. You can use these structures to expand housing and community options for your colonists. Surviving Mars is on sale and in celebration, and it is 70% off until March 22nd in the Microsoft Store, also available on Xbox Game Pass. Well, the game I'm really excited about, and it's been just added to Game Pass this week, is Empire of Sin. So your favorite Chicago crime bosses are heading to Xbox Game Pass. Who said not everyone can be a mob boss? Anyone with an Xbox Game Pass subscription can try their hands at controlling a criminal empire. Empire of Sin will be available for PC and Xbox One on the Game Pass starting on March the 18th. It's been around ready for 3 days. Next week, players will have an even more fine-tuned game to explore with the launch of patch 104, which will focus on combat auto-resolve. This feature has been highly requested by our community, and we are excited to see how players interact with this new feature. And the very last bit of news is indeed linked to the game we streamed last week and introduced it here, part of DRBMiller introducing Stellaris Console Edition. And the final leg of Expansion Pass 3 is coming to Xbox. Meet the Lithoids, a species made entirely of sapien rock who eat minerals for sustenance, are long-lived and can colonize in almost any environment. Players can look forward to trying out the entirely new Lithoid play style that focuses on mineral production, relentless colonization, or even the most marginal worlds, and refusing to cede an inch of your empire for sentimental value. And Lithoids, the expansion, drops into consoles March the 25th. Well, these were all the news I received recently through various platforms. What I've been giving you today would have been introduced through Xbox Wire. They have some really very detailed dispatches, and always great to see that we are being kept abreast with all the latest developments. I'm very excited about Empire of Sin and Stellaris, I've got to say, as well as I am elated to hear that all these inclusions are taking place in Fortnite. And some days you can just simply allocate maybe 40 minutes per game and then stroll through half dozen in order to find out what the new content is. And you've got to have a major external hard drive, considering how big many of these games really are. And you know, probably 12 gigs would do the job, and you can simply then well, it's not 12 gigs actually. Let me think. It's 500 gigs, 1 terabyte. So it should be like 4 to 6 terabytes. I think 4 to 6 terabytes will need to be there in order to suffice for many games to be, simultaneously installed, because it is a bother when you need to be deleting them and then reinstalling, and it can take a bit of time, and particularly if you want to be accessing certain games really fast. So I guess the best thing to do is you keep some of the very basics, the games that you are going to be coming back to, like for instance Fortnite, Apex, Warzone, Destiny. Never delete these, keep them on your external hard drive, and then the other ones, the small indie games and the ones that do not occupy a lot of space, you can just easily delete and then download, because obviously if the game is less than 2 or 3 gigs it will install rapidly in no time. Right, I think we've come to the end of our time for today, and today we have no gameplay similar to yesterday. I told you that due to the COVID vaccine which I received yesterday, I'll have a few days off, and I will be just relaxing, enjoying my local strolls, and not doing any major streams on my channel. But we are having our daily podcast as always. It's the new venture here on my channel. Very glad to see that people are enjoying the concept. Very glad to see that I'm receiving messages of support together with questions and feedback. Want to really be very grateful yet again to everyone who participated, to all of our friends who sent us messages since yesterday, and it's humbling to see that people are watching my podcast in various time zones and listening to it on playback. I will endeavour to upload all of my podcasts as soon as possible to YouTube. So YouTube will obviously raise the bar somewhat for easy access from anywhere on any platform. And we really want the podcast to be a hub where our community activity and all the news kind of meet each other. I think we'll also allocate some podcasts to be with a particular topic, like reviewing specific game or a new release. We are going to be reviewing Outriders once it's released, probably within the first week, and have to allocate a specific time for people to come in to participate live online. And also I'm considering whether to run some podcasts together with another streamer, so that we would have a rundown on our mutual activities, and we do this maybe once a week. And I just like everyone to be a bit patient, because like any new venture, we are going to be considering the structure and the format as we go along. We need to really keep an open mind. We need to keep an open mind when it comes to all the incoming requests from our community members, as well as suggestions, and therefore we'll tailor the channel and the program accordingly. I think so far so good. I think on reflection it was a good idea to introduce shorter streams that are based on a particular topic. It's very easy for people to find some of those streams online, and it's easier to dig up through certain clips if you want to be keeping them. If you liked a match of Apex or Warzone, the one that was full of very funny content or some really interesting tactics, and therefore splitting it into smaller sections really helps. And also it's easier to provide everyone with the kind of database finds. You have dates in there, then where you remember that this was Saturday or Sunday the 21st of March, then you just enter the date and you will get that particular broadcast straight away. So I really worked it out, and I'm very, very pleased with the results so far. Okay, so I think that's about it. If anything else is outstanding or I forgot to mention, I'll get back to it tomorrow, of course. And well, we can tell you that next week we'll have DRBMiller introducing. We are looking at a selection of games to be brought to you, and then we'll have Bethesda still present with Fallout 3. We'll have a bit of PUBG, a bit of Apex. We need to polish off Apex tomorrow and on Tuesday for the rest of the rewards. And what else? The list just goes on and on. We'll keep an open mind. We need to bring in Destiny. We need to do a bit of the recent season. I definitely want to be exploring the first anniversary of Bless Unleashed. There is an abundance of rewards to be claimed in there. We need to unlock some of the perks that we acquired, and maybe we'll do a bit of Sea of Thieves. Sea of Thieves is a wonderful community-based game, and I did collect a lot of different perks through the Game Pass, and they need to be fully enabled and installed within the game. So one way or the other, we'll consider it as well. So it'll be DRBMiller introducing. We'll have Megabat Festival, we'll have Battle Royale Festival, and many other games for you to enjoy. The whole week is ahead of us. We'll resume with our regular streams of online gaming tomorrow. And just want to invite everyone to join us, and make sure you are also playing your own games instead of just watching our streams, and make your voices heard. Make sure you connect with others, you write messages, and join Discord, join Reddit, join Twitter, communicate, share. Make sure that your favorite gameplay or characters or screenshots are being properly tagged. You have got to use tags like Xbox Game Club or Xbox Share, or best games, or you can use hashtag for the titles of for certain titles as well. And just make sure that everything is clearly marked, because hashtags, when you're doing the postings, will basically put you on various Google search engines and be very easy for people to access that information. Without hashtags, you can write a very nice, very beautifully conceived message, but nobody will ever see it or hear it anywhere unless it does have proper hashtags. So it's very important to remember this as well, because I did come across messages that I really enjoyed, but they were very hard to find because there were no hashtags in there. So Reddit, Discord, these are the hubs together with Twitter that provide you with insider views, and just make sure you connect to all of them, and shout it out loud. Make sure that your voice is heard. Make sure that you are a gamer who is fully connected with a community. Doesn't have to be my community here on the channel, could be anyone else's, but we really want to have our communities joining forces from anywhere around the world. So that's the creed, that's the idea. This is what we do every single day, and hopefully what you heard today through the news, and particularly the news related to Stellaris and Fortnite and all the other ones. Like yesterday we talked about Life is Strange Remastered Edition, Legendary Edition, and then the new game coming out. So it's an abundance of news, and I want to keep everyone abreast with all that is happening in the industry and in our community. So I need to have my dinner. We come to the end of our podcast. I want to thank you all for coming today. I want to be very grateful. I want to thank everyone who was taking time to write, and do so again. Make sure you provide us with more feedback and more of your thoughts and views. Always try to be as brief and as crisp as possible, and it doesn't really matter whether you're providing us with very positive or very negative feedback. We want to hear it all. We want to hear what your thoughts, ideas, feelings and reflections always really are. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all tomorrow, and have a good night.